And someone who's been way ahead of the trend in cutting carbon emissions through use of alternative energy sources is Yosef Abramovitz, president and CEO of Energiya Global Capital, sometimes better known by his nickname Captain Sunshine. He's a solar energy pioneer, to be sure. And Yosef, thanks for joining us. First of all, good news, or some may point out, for example, that the former Environmental Protection Minister, Ghila Gamliel, actually had spoken about 100% carbon pollution-free electricity, for example, by 2035. Here we're talking about 2050.
Yeah, look, Ghila was great, but she couldn't get the government to pass any decision. If this government decision was a flavor of Ben & Jerry's, it would be climate catastrophe or abandonment, because that's how most
abandonment.
Because that's how most of the environmental community feels. Now, Tamar Zandberg, the environmental minister, who's a friend, she just released a video within the hour hailing this as a great victory, imperfect as it is. It is the first time that the government has said something, but it's even a bad greenwash, because there's almost nothing green about it for a very long time.
Well, maybe explain that by putting it into context of global standards that have been set by other nations.
Yeah, the state of Israel basically spit in the face of Joe Biden, who, America is stepping up climate leadership. United States of America, 350 million people are going for a reduction of 50% of the greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 and 100%, right, by 2050. So little state of Israel, is talking, it's only a 27% reduction by 2030, which is nothing. It's nothing. And so we think we have a hard time with the Democrats and the progressives today. We just essentially boycotted Biden's climate leadership.
Well, let's be honest, though. Yes, for all we know, the U.S. may have a Republican government that's going to, again, pull out of the Paris Climate.
No, but at least they have a plan, and if they can implement it, it's going to work. Israel doesn't even have a plan. Their plan is to form yet another interministerial committee to figure out what to do 12 months from now. We know exactly what to do, and they're not doing it.
Well, let me ask you that, because some question, of course, your field is mainly in solar energy replacement. Electric. You believe it could be done, I guess, by 2035, or others, I should say. I'm not going to just say you. But there are other things. For example, transportation, replacing every car in this country with either an electric vehicle or some kind of other alternative. Some might say it's simply unrealistic to think that could be done before 2050.
That's crazy. Your cars don't last till 2050. You basically just make it that the next car everybody has to buy is electric. Give the tax credit. From my point of view, use some of the gas proceeds that haven't really materialized for free charging, even. Free charging stations. Israelis aren't friars. They'll quickly get an electric car if they can get something for free. Holland, I think half the transportation is already, small country like us, is already electric. So we just don't have any climate or moral leadership. And this is not a change government when it comes to energy, because who are all the people who are in those offices? They were appointed by Netanyahu and by Yuval Steinitz, the former energy minister, for the last 12 years. And so this new government of change, they're relying on the bureaucrats and the appointees of the gas government that preceded.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up, Yosef, because I want to ask you, even if Israel cuts its own emissions, it's still a carbon fuel exporter now, and may even get more so if it allows the Emirates, for example, to build a pipeline through Israeli territory to the Mediterranean.
This is unconscionable. You have so many countries stopping the drilling, and we're handing out drilling licenses. Just what we have, we have. Let's use it. Let's use it wisely. Let's use it judiciously. Let's try to make it as clean as possible. But how can you justify adding more greenhouse gas emissions? It's ridiculous. It's not even for our own domestic economy. And a pipeline with the Emirates, the Abraham Accord should be about a supergrid, a solar supergrid linking all the regions. Solar energy is the energy of peace. People don't fight wars over solar power. They do over nuclear power, and they do over oil and gas. So we should be leading the way with our new partners in the Gulf with renewables.
Okay, well, I'm just going to end by saying there are some who might see a glass half full here.
I have a very sunny disposition, and the glass is definitely 1/10 full.
Okay, 1/10 full. I guess that is a start of some sort. Yosef Abramovitz, Thank you for joining us
I know.
on I-24 News.